Okay, so I try not to criticize too much without putting myself in place. So here's my just recently finished tile job. There are some bits of it that are not perfect, but overall I'm pretty happy with it. You'll have to excuse the kid stuff in the corner. We got a depressed shower basin with a linear drain. I tried to make all the grout lines line up. Wherever possible, this all drains relatively well. There's no pooling. Obviously I've got a little kind of non-straight area there, but it drains this way from the corner. So this is the main channel. The bench gave me some issues to figure out how to do the bullnose and how to do the corner here. I got a little bit of chipping where I did this mitre I'm not perfectly happy with. But again, most of the grout lines are pretty consistent. There's very little lippage going on. I spent a lot of time levelling everything. I didn't put this piece of drywall up straight, so I do have about 3/4 of an inch up at the top down to maybe 1/2 an inch down at the bottom on this this vertical. I had to make that tile completely vertical rather than matching it to the wall because I've got a piece of pre-cut glass that goes in there. So that was unfortunate. But everything else I think is okay. All of these are sloped and drain towards the pan. All of these grout lines are pretty consistent. The Schluter strips I've got around the corners took a little longer to get in than I thought. They were a bit more fiddly than I expected. We've got about 2.5 inch drop into the shower pan, which I think is a nice detail. But that was as much drop as I could get. I wanted about 3 inches on that, but we just didn't have the room under the ceiling. We're on the second story here. And then the only other bit I'm not perfectly happy with is on this wall. The door trim is going to come up to this line here. So then it was a question of how do I finish this bit of tile going up to the ceiling? Do I put a single piece of bullnose and then have this grout line essentially finish like that? Would that look stranger? Or does it look better to carry the grout line on? I don't think there's a good solution, but at least it's on the back wall, so no one notices. But yeah, I am in terms of the kind of lippage. There's actually very little. I've still got some haze I need to clean off. And in terms of the consistency of the grout lines, I'm pretty happy with it. So I'm baffled how these professionals end up with gigantic gaps between the tiles. It's just shouldn't be possible. You just stick the tile spacers in and make sure everything's tight and consistent. Even the linear drain kind of went in pretty easily. I just made sure I left myself the right height between the mud deck that I put in over the top of the hot mop, and the tiles are all proud of that by about 1/16 of an inch. Something like that, and a little thin grout line. So yeah, critique, go for it. I'm more than happy to hear kind of what I did do wrong.